Hi, this is Johnny. I have an image for you. This is a 390 games. I went and fixed, it's the same one that I released last time, but this one is fixed. It's for Raspberry Pi 3B Plus, and it's a virtual screen. It have 300, and I added 5 more game. When you go left and right now, you don't have that other menu before with the older version, the one I released. I went and delete that and modified with this image. And this one have the A button is A button. You don't have to press B, so the button is being changed. I managed to able to get all the function key for Nintendo DS, because Nintendo DS is a good game for virtual game. Okay, and it allows you to play in a vertical. So if you have a vertical screen, you need to have Neo Geo. I mean Nintendo DS, not Nintendo DS. Nintendo DS play real good in arcade retro, and it just configure the button to work. Is the one is a little bit of is harder. It's hard to play sideways. Okay. Now to get out, you have to press. I configure it so you have to press the select and start. Now the start button give you this option. Okay. Now if this is a if you get this image, now I'm not sure my joystick is put in correctly. I might have put it in the wrong direction, meaning that my left might be your right and my right might be your left. So you have to press the start button to go in here and change it. Now it's really hard to see because the screen is so small, but you just have to go to the second one, which is the controller, configure the controller. Now I have another video that is have a bigger screen, and you could look at that one to do the setup. But you have to go there, press A, and then you, instead of changing the one over here on the keyboard, you don't need to touch that. Just go to the one over here. Now the first screen, it tell you that there's your up and down, it should be correct. It's just your left and right might not be correct. So you come down to where it's highlighting the up, the second one. So it's highlighting the second one, which is the up, and then you just move your blue cursor over to the right, and then you just press the A button, and then move your joystick to change it. Okay, and then when you finish, you just go all the way down to the bottom and say exit save for all game. So then all your game will be correct. All right, so let me go down and exit out here. Okay, and then to get out again, you just press this button, the start button, you know. Well, you have to go about. Now here you could have an option to save stage or load stage. Okay, because one thing about this emulator is that you have to have one button per each function. So it's not like retro or like a track mode. You could set 2 buttons for one action. If you could do that, you could set star A, star B, star C, and then set for each of this option. But it doesn't give you that. It only allow 1 button per each function. So because of that reason, I can set up the load stage and the save stage. So I won't be able to do that. Okay. Oh, go back to this again. If you want to extra button, like you want to pull this menu or to exit out the menu, you go to, there's another option called extra controller. So that will give you the option to set up this to go to this menu and exit out menu. Okay, so if you get this image, and there's 5 games here that you might run into the left and right, just FYI. Hopefully you don't, but I think you probably will, because my joystick, I put it in the wrong direction. The left and right is in the wrong direction, so you might have to change that in order to work. Okay, so you could go to extra controller. That one you don't have to. The only thing you have to change is just the left and right that you need to change. So let me exit out here without saving it, and here's your slow mode and save mode. So if you want to save this game, you just save it, okay, and then exit out. So that's your Mortal Kombat for the Nintendo DS that I added. So they all work with the 4-button arcade stick. Your select button is to exit out. Your select button and your return button is to get out the game. So let's see if we can find another one. So this have all the cool game, all the favorite top game. And this one worked very well as well. I like this build better because all the emulator work. The Pac-Man and the 20th anniversary, that one you could choose different, and also the Return of Jala. The joystick is working very well. You also work with the trackball if you have trackball. So most of the game, like racing, all that stuff that use the the left and right, you also could use it with the spinner or the trackball. Well, yeah, for racing it's just the spinner. You don't need the trackball. So the other one that I added is the Now I apologize, this is not in order. I tried to sort it in order, but the system automatic put in this fashion order. It's not 100% alphabet order. Now if you're going to reset your joystick, you will have to click the button here. I also remap the button. So this is your enter, the A button, this is your B, this is your X, and this is your Y. So to get out the emulator, you just press the Y button, and it will ask you, do you want to exit out trackball? And then you will say, yes, I want to exit out trackball. Okay, so you just press A button to exit out trackball, and this is the only 8 GB image, but you barely have any space to save game. So if you want to save game and you have 16 GB, it's best to put it on the 16 GB because you only have 833 MB. So it's already running to the max. And this thing, I think it needs at least 1 GB free space in order it to perform well. Because if you start saving game, you're gonna run out of space. Okay. And to get to the emulator, you just type EM and then press the tab key. Alright, so EM, and then here is okay, focus the keyboard. Here's the keyboard, and then you just press the tab, and when you come back up here to the screen, it spelled the word for you, emulator station. See that? So you just press enter, and it will go to the emulation. Now here you have the game, but it doesn't have the video because somehow the video snapshots is disappear. So here you could press the start button and you could configure your input. Okay, then you could configure your input. You could use the keyboard because the mouse party does not work. Oh, the keyboard doesn't work on here either, but you could configure your input over here. All right, so I'm using the arcade stick, and hopefully you don't have to come here redo this, but if you're using the arcade stick, you should be okay with this build. You shouldn't have to do anything with it. So let's just exit out the game. Okay, so back here, if you you just type sudo reboot, and that will reboot your console back into. Now, like I said, this image came from the guy who created it. This image is called 101 Smasher, and this is his image that I modified. So it now have different game console that you could add to it and play with it. So like I just added a new Nintendo DS, and you could also add Sega Genesis, and what else? Super NES and NES. That's it. Okay, because I didn't add. That's the only thing that was arcade. So NES, Super NES, Genesis, and Nintendo DS, you are able to add more game to it, but put it onto a bigger hard drive so you could have space. Like this game, it will work if you press the second start button on the joystick. So your second button, I believe, is one of those buttons. I don't remember. But instead of pressing the start button right here, instead of pressing the start button, you press the second button, and you could play Galaga instead of Pac-Man. So let me demonstrate that real quick. So here's my start button. So instead of pressing the start button, you could press the second button here. Okay, so you press the insert coin. After you insert it twice, if you press the start button, you're going to start Pac-Man. So if you press the other button, I believe it might be either, I don't remember which one. Yeah, this one, second button. And then that will start the Galaga. Now, I have another image that I modify, which is an 800 build that was created by MrBurn. I modified that image and able to add 1,000 images. So I will show that next. But I want to find the other game that I love. Oh, also I fixed some of the game that originally it was supposed to be a full screen and it wasn't. So I fixed that now. So this will be a full screen game for Galaga 90, as well as the Alien Pinball. And here's the Super Mario. So I have Sonic Color, Super Mario, Metal Slug 7, and Mortal Kombat. And I think another one, Contra 7 maybe. So the only thing you have to do is just press A. So your start and select button is only for you to get out of the game. To play, you just press everything here, the 4 button, and that's it. So Nintendo DS is set up to do that, so you could play. So to get out, you just press the select button and automatically kick you out. Okay? I don't mean to exit out that quick. I meant to play. When you press A twice, it will give you the option to select the chord. And here's all the chord that you're allowed to add for the advanced May 1.4 is used for Tempest and Tempest Tube, and Nintendo DS is this one, PC Engine, also PC Engine. You could add PC Engine game. And then this is also Nintendo DS, those two. And then Final Burnout, Final Neo. So this will also support Neo Geo CD. Okay, so if you put Neo Geo CD here, it will also work. And then May 2000, 2010, and then here's a Peter code that originally came with the image, so that also support the Genesis, and this also came with the system with the original image, support NES. So I added a Super NES, two versions that you could pick from. And then Made for All, I believe those two came with the original image. 2003 and 2000 came with the original image as well. But the Final Neo, I believe, and Final Burnout 2012, May 2010, 2003 plus, 2016, I add those to make this so you could play the different console in the arcade folder. Okay. So let's go ahead and launch it. So you just press the game, you can turn the volume up. So Nintendo DS is real nice. If you could get it working, which I did, and I would love the virtual game on here. Pinball game is great, arcade game is great, NES game is real good on the virtual game system. Now with this virtual vertical screen, the screen is not too narrow. Now some of you might not like this because you're like, well, my screen is so small and it's so long. Yeah, don't get those kind of monitor. Make sure you get the monitor that this width is almost the same as the, so for example, this is the, if I tilt it, it's past 75%, so only this part is a little bit longer. So this screen is real good for the size wise, based on the width and the length, is perfect for the virtual game without stretching too much. Get it. Let's become big Mario. I love this. Alright, so to get out, you just press the start button or the escape select button, and it will kick you straight out. Okay? So you got all these cool games. So 5 Nintendo DS, because it's run out of space, I couldn't add any more extra game in here, because if I try to add more to it, it just don't have enough space. So I want to keep this as 8 gigabyte for people who want to use only 8 gigabyte. But I recommend to go and get a 16 gigabyte because I want to put more game on it, because now I know Nintendo DS work on my vertical game. I want to add more game to it. So if you put it on the 16 gigabyte, you could add more Nintendo DS gaming here, and it's a wonderful experience because it play well and it look good. The graphic look good and it's vertical, so you could see both the top, the bottom of the game. And this one you play both screen, so it's really awesome. And there's a lot of cool game. I love Nintendo DS, and I own Nintendo DS. I have Nintendo DS 3D as well, and I just love their game. So you just press A button, and then the rest is just press the button. That's about it.
Hello, happy people. Buckle up and Eggman's ultra-accelerating space elevator whips you to an interplanetary wonderland of fun.
I can't believe somebody was dumb enough to leave the keys in this thing. It's like Eggman's begging us to sneak in and trash the place.
Oh man, this thing's got crazy fast acceleration.
I need to probably fix that. I can't put the select start button there, because by me putting a start button, you can't press start. So let me change. Yeah. So you have to change it back because your start button, it won't let you do start. So you have to like watch the whole video. Yeah, you can't skip the introduction.
Okay.
Because I don't think, well, you guys do need that button to change the control, so I can't get rid of that one. So that's the thing. Oh, I shouldn't say I need the, this is the training thing. It's going to train you how to do all this. So you can skip the training and go directly to the game. But I select training. Alright, let me press select to get out. So like I say, just do not have enough button. If you have more button, then you could say, okay, I don't want the select to be the main menu. I want the start to be the main menu. I want start to be start and select to be select. So you could use the two different other button. Eventually, I'm going to rechange my controller this weekend because I don't like the way I built my arcade, because I want to move this one up here to this button right here, and I probably will get rid of this because this is taking in the back, it's taking too much space back here. And I probably will put this little button, don't use those because they making a squeezy sound. I know somebody asked me where I get those. I don't recommend it. The more I use it, more I don't like. I mean, it's good for start and select, but if you have to press it all the time, I don't like it, because when you press it, see that sound? And I don't know how to grease that because I don't enjoy that feeling. Doesn't it have a squeezing sound, and it doesn't. You have to press real hard to do it. It's not very enjoyable. And then so I want to put my my start button and my select button, and I want to add 2 more buttons here. So now the 2 more button might be further away because the way I don't want to drill too close, because then I wanted to drill close, but I can't because the original button is right here. So I will have to put the L1 and L2 over here side by side, and I'm going to move this up to where the speaker is and move the speaker to the bottom. And I want to get rid of the big speaker and put a smaller speaker so I can add more button to it. So eventually I want to add total of 12 buttons. I want to add 2 buttons on the side for pinball, and then so there will be 4, 5, 6, and then plus 6 more buttons. So 2 more here, and then 2 on the side, and then some more on the bottom. So that way it make the game more fun. But at this moment, if you only could able to put 4 game like I did, 4 button, it still work. I still have a spinner. And one thing you do want to if you want to play vertical game, you have to have a spinner, because a lot of games you could use with a spinner, like the racing game, Outrun, all those games you could play with a spinner as well. Let's see if I can find the rest of it. Now, the reason that MrBurn image, I'll talk about MrBurn image once I change this out. So let me go ahead and show you the shutdown, and then so when you want to shut it down, you just press the button and it will shut down. And once you shut down, you could go ahead and change the image. Now, MrBurn have 1,050, I think 57 or 58 game in here. But one thing bad about MrBurn is the image is tilted in a way where if I put Nintendo DS on it, it won't work, because the game will be playing in the wrong direction, more like upside down instead. So I have to turn this. You have to do that in order for it to come up, because it's a 2 push in order for it to be on. But to turn it off, it's just a 1 push. Sorry, I'm gonna try to get in here. It's a 1 push button. But to turn it back on, you have to press twice for it to come back on. Because the GIO pin is not really set up correctly, in my opinion. The way, I think Raspberry Pi should have just added. They do have a button. They do have a place where you could add a reset, but to me, reset is not proper shutdown. But yeah, the shutdown button, you have to sometimes have to power it off and power it back on for it to work. Okay, so I turn it off. Now to turn it back on, I gotta do 1, 2. There you go. Sometimes I forget about the pattern, and then you just have to like turn it off, turn it back on, and retry again to get the pattern correctly. See, now it's working. Now this is created by MrBurn, and he have, when you first get the image, it is going to be upside down. So if you download directly from him, you will have an upside down screen, and then you have to rotate it into 3. But one thing cool is both versions support a track mode actually. Track mode, and also because the one we were using, it was in track mode. This is also in track mode, but this one they did it with where you could change the marquee and the animation, which is really cool. I really like that. So I went and modified this one, and now this one have 1,057 game. Because I merged them together. I merged the Smasher 101 plus what I add in, which is 390 game. No, 300. Sorry, no Nintendo DS. So 385 game plus the 800 game that he have. So and then plus more. So now you have 1,057 game. Some of the game it will not work. I have to remove it. But the emulator that he used is different, so I have to use the one that he have. I tried to modify it. Turn out because of his screen, it automatic flip. So if you use the old emulator, it will not work. Same thing with the Advanced May. You have to use Advanced May, not Advanced May 1.4, for it to work. And then for the emulator that I normally use, I have to use called a quick. For the NES, I had to use a quick NES, and that one would allow me to flip it to the vertical direction. So here is a 100 game, and also I went and removed all the rather odd game which have nudity, I put it into a ROM folder called Not for Kid. So those of you who like those kind of game, who doesn't have kids around, you could put it back into ROM folder and it will work. You have the wheel, the snap, the video, the wheel, and the marquee is all there. You just have to copy everything inside and drop it into the ROM folder, and then it will show up. Okay? Oh, before it will show up, you have to press the tab key, and then you have to go to emulator. Okay? And once you go to emulator, you go to arcade, because this is only arcade game. And then you have to go, whenever you add new game, you have to do this. Generate the ROM list. Then you press A, say yes, override it, and then it will create a new ROM list for you. But I shouldn't have done that, because now it's going to add 2 ROM, which is the bio, into my list. Yeah, I shouldn't have done that. Because you will see 2 icons that no box art, no video. Those are 2 of the Neo Geo bio and the PGM bio. You need those to play the other game here. And I do have some of the Neo Geo game here, which have the Neo Geo marquee, which is look real cool. I do wanted to modify this to something else other than just a random what do you call those, artwork on the arcade cabinet. So I do want to change that. So that's one thing real cool, is you get to see what the game is before you play it, and plus it have the wheel and the marquee. See, some of the marquee is different than the wheel. So MrBurn did a real good job on his image. So what I did is I went and tested the game that is a little bit different, and then added some of my own game, like Ninja Turtle. Because Ninja Turtle is not a vertical game, so he don't have those games. He doesn't have the Turbo 16 game either, or the NES game. He just mainly have nothing but, you know, arcade game. Arcade that is mostly vertical. There's like 1 or 2 games that I thought it was not necessary, so I removed those. I didn't get to test all of them, but I test most of them. So, and I know most of my game that I have put in here, it all work.
This is April on the recording.
So they turned the value down again. I forgot to turn it down. Yeah, so it played real nice, and the screen is not too narrow. So because if you have a narrow screen and you put this image in, you will not like it, because it look like the character is like a little stick running around, you know. So this image is really made for, that I have created, is made for arcade countercade. Okay, arcade 1-up countercade. So if you have arcade countercade, this will be a great image for you. Okay, but if you put it into another vertical screen, using the real long vertical Dell screen or something, you're not gonna like it, because the character is very, very skinny and it doesn't look good with some of this game that is meant to be played horizontal, not vertical. Okay, so just FYI. So yeah, there's a lot of cool game here. 1057 game. Most of them are vertical. There's 128 games that's home console that I added, and there is 26 or 27 inappropriate for kids that have moved to a different folder, but it's not in here, so you don't have to worry about your kid grab onto this image and play and found some nudity appropriate for the kid. Okay, so those have been moved away, but those people who's adult to that enjoy those kind of games, it's still in there in the image. You just have to pull it back out and put it into the one folder and do what I just did, create a generate the new game list, then it will show up. I added this game as well. This is a pretty cool fighting game, and it also play well. Now all the game is played a full screen, so there's no marquee, there's no bezel at all, the top and bottom bezel, there's nothing on this game. The previous one I showed you, they do have bezel for the home console, but this one do not. So all the game is a full-blown vertical gameplay. Okay, and so this image is 16 gigabyte. So once I release it, I'll let you know, because I don't really have enough. Now this is the game that I have problem playing with it. I cannot play Galaga, I only could play Mrs. Pac-Man, because this it doesn't work with the final Burnout Neo that came with this system, and I tried to fix it, and the more I try to fix it, more I wind up messed up the system. So I decided to just keep it the way it is. It's working, and forget about it, you know. But he have a lot of cool game. Now I'm thinking about moving his game to the Smasher, because it's 1000 game I can add it, because now that other image is 8 gig. I'm going to go ahead and make it to I'm not sure I'm going to make it to a 16 gig or 32 gig, because I wanted to put a whole bunch of Nintendo DS on it. So I might just move his image plus Nintendo DS together, and let's see how big that is. I might be able to fit it on 16 gigabyte. Hopefully I could. So that's something I want to do for myself. But this is an image I will release out for people who love virtual game. This is a 1000 game. This is the most you will see for vertical game, and it worked well, and it's working with a snapshot and everything. Okay, I have Killer Instinct here, but this is a NES version. It's not the but it's the one that's closest to it, because with the Raspberry Pi 3B you cannot really run a whole bunch of cool game because you need a faster processor. It's just not fast enough. Raspberry Pi 3B is just not fast enough to play some of the arcade game that is out there. But this one will work. This is a Super NES version, so it worked just fine. And also I have a Dragon Layer, is also a Super NES version. So this version work well if you don't mind playing the NES version. They look almost the same. Alright, this video is getting too long, so I'm just going to stop it right here. I just want to let you know that there's 2 images will be ready for you to download. So I might have to put the 16 gig on a Telegram, so you will have to set up a Telegram account, because I'm out of space on my Google Drive. So just let you know. Alright, thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoy this image. Let me know if you like the image and you enjoy or not. But this one doesn't have those screen bugs like before. So if you want to go to emulator, you still have to press the tab key like the other one does. And well, first you have to get out of the game, and then press select and start to get out of the game. Then you have to press the Y button. I forgot which button. Okay, the B button. My A is going to be the primary, and I think all the buttons have been reset. So all my shooting, fighting punch will be A, and the second one will be the jump. So you can just exit out the track mode as well, and then go to emulation station. And see, he has his screen tilt sideways, not like the Smasher. Smasher, you go to emulator, it's not tilt. So that's why it's very hard to emulate some of the game here, because so when I type EM, press tab, it will spell the whole thing for me. Press enter, and everything is sideways. I just it's really hard to. Now I went and changed the theme. Okay, so it have a different theme that you could, but it's upside down. That's the problem. Okay, so this theme is called Arcade 1-Up, and there's your game. Now I tried to fix it so it will. The other one, Smasher, I didn't do it, but because it doesn't really have enough space to put this. But this one I scrape it, and I try to put. I try to put the image as well for the emulator. So when you scroll down, you could see this and this as well. So you could actually tilt this and play this vertically if you choose to. But his game, even if you tilt it vertically, it's still going to play. For example, one thing about this game is this MrBurn image. Even if you tilt it, your game is still going to be vertically, because the way this is set up, this image, everything is going to be vertically. Okay, and you will get this kind of error, which I don't know. The other image didn't have this kind of like, oh, this is. Another way is trying to say you using the wrong emulator for this game. That's why it's saying it's a copyright stuff. So you press second stop. So even though this is upside down, the game is going to play vertical. So if you flip this around, your game is still going to be vertical. So that's the problem. Alright. And I noticed when I was creating this, you don't really need the .cfg that it was included in the setup, in the ROM folder. With or without it, it still worked. That's why I was wondering why one of his 148 game did not have a CFG. I guess he started to realize that CFG doesn't work, so he stopped. CFG that he added to his game is allow you to tilt vertically, but apparently it didn't work, but it's there. So he continued on. So I tested those 148 games, and now it was fine without it. But I include everything with a CFG in this build. So, but just to let you know, it doesn't work with it worked without it. So you don't have to have it when you add the new game to this button. So that's pretty much it on this build. So I just want to share that with you. If you wanted to increase the disk space, you will have to go to not the Raspberry Pi setup, but the one called Raspberry config. Okay, so you go in there. Now this is a 16 gig. So original image was this image is 16 gig, but original image was 8 gig. So I put it on a 16 gig, and you want to go to I believe it's called the advanced setup. If I could read this upside down. Okay, then press B, yeah, and then you have to say expand the image. So this will increase your disk space on your SD card. So you press first you have to move the cursor to point to this, and then press B instead of A. This screen is a little bit kind of weird, and then it will expand the image. Say, okay, your image is being expanded. Please reboot your system. So you utilize the whole SD card space. So that's how you do it. You don't do it from your computer, PC, or Windows. You do it from here, because this is Raspberry Pi. So you got to do it from here, okay? And that's how you do it. That's how you increase the space. All right, and then you just press enter, and then it's going to say, you just this upside down stuff is very annoying. So press B to finish, and now it's going to ask you, do you want to reboot it? Now you say yes, you do, because you just modify your SD card. So you can press B to yes, reboot. And that's pretty much, that's how you increase the size of the SD card. Hopefully this video helps. Sorry the video is so long, but there are going to be 2 images underneath the description, so you could go ahead and download whatever one you like. I want a virtual image that I could enjoy my virtual cabinet with Arcade 1-Up countercade mod, but I just couldn't find one that was good, and I always have issue with some of the images. Mine might have bug. Mine's not perfect either. I'm using other people's image and modify it. So who knows? Might have some bug on it as well. But if anytime if your game doesn't load, you just press, when you start the game, just keep on press A and you could change it. So this is a Kirby Adventure, and it looked good on the vertical screen. Kirby 3. So one thing cool about it, this is the one that comes with the arcade 1-up cabinet, Marvel vs. Capcom cabinet. So this one is added to here because I want the full cabinet experience, so I add those games in here as well. So then I could, play with it and try to. I'm running out of space to buy arcade 1-up, so I need to discipline myself. Say, okay, I have the game here. I can play it. I don't need to go buy a cabinet, even though they're very, very pretty cabinet and look very nice. And I love arcade Marvel, Street Fighter, Marvel vs. Capcom game. So I love those. So good news is all those games are here. Okay, all the Marvel vs. Capcom and Street Fighter vs. What's the one? X-Men vs. the Street Fighter. They're all here. So all those games are here, so you don't have to look. And all the Mega Man set is here as well. And all the Sonic game is here. All the Bonk 1, 2, and 3 is also here. Same as the other version. But this one had more. More arcade shooting vertical game. A lot of vertical shooting game. Alright? Now those are added. Those did not come with it. I add those too. Alright, so hopefully that you will enjoy this image, and let me know if you like it. If you do, please give me a thumb up and let me know how much you appreciate it or not. So hopefully this image you will get to enjoy with your arcade 1-up mod that I show you on the video. I have a video show you how I did this, and there's like 4 videos show you how I put it together and everything. So those are very educational information. Sometimes if I forget, I look at my old video, so I don't remember, I can look at it. Because once you set it up one time, you're not going to do it again. So that's how, how it go. Alright, talk to you later. Be safe. Thank you.